In the quiet town of Ballure, Ohio, a close friendship hid a dark secret that led to a brutal murder. David Kenny and Brad McGarry were best friends, or so everyone thought. But behind closed doors, their bond was a secret affair that ended with Brad's body in a basement, shot twice in the head. According to the true crime documentary, this chilling story of love, betrayal, and fear unraveled a web of lies that shocked the community. Stick around. The truth is more twisted than you imagine. Let's set the scene in Ballure, Ohio, a small town where everyone knows each other. David Kenny, a 30-year-old coal miner, lived what seemed like a perfect family life with his wife, Sherry, and their children. David met Sherry in his early 20s, stepping into the role of stepfather to her 3 kids. Their marriage appeared stable, a cornerstone of their tight-knit community. But David was hiding something big. Enter Brad McGarry, also a coal miner, who met David during a training course. The two hit it off, becoming inseparable friends. Brad, openly gay and a former hairstylist, was a beloved figure, even earning the nickname Uncle Brad from David's kids. He joined family gatherings, holidays, and barbecues, blending seamlessly into their lives. To Sherry and the kids, Brad was family. But, as the documentary reveals, David and Brad were secretly lovers, meeting in private while maintaining a platonic facade. On May 7th, 2017, everything changed. David, Sherry, and their daughter went to Brad's house to return a weed trimmer. They found the front door ajar and the house in chaos. Furniture overturned, drawers emptied, like a burglary gone wrong. David went to the basement and found Brad's body, face down, with 2 gunshot wounds to the head. The police were called, and the investigation kicked off. At first, authorities suspected suicide or a robbery. Some even wondered if Brad's sexuality made him a target of a hate crime. But the scene didn't add up. No valuables were taken, suggesting the mess was staged. Then, surveillance footage and phone data placed David at Brad's house earlier that day, alone, around the time of the murder, contradicting his claim that he only arrived with his family. David's story started to crumble, with multiple conflicting accounts, from a mysterious intruder to a third-party shooter raising red flags. David's confession seemed to close the case. He admitted to shooting Brad, claiming it was self-defense during a heated argument. He said things got out of hand, and in a moment of fear, he grabbed a gun and fired. It sounded plausible, a lover's quarrel gone tragically wrong. But the evidence told a different story. The autopsy revealed Brad was shot twice in the back of the head at close range, execution style. There were no signs of a struggle, suggesting Brad was unaware of the danger, possibly asleep or turned away. The missing murder weapon, which David claimed to have discarded, further weakened his story. The staged crime scene, with its untouched valuables, pointed to premeditation, not a spontaneous act. David's multiple lies, up to 7 or 8 versions of events, undermined his credibility. The self-defense claim was a false resolution, hiding a darker motive. The trial exposed a chilling truth. The prosecution argued David killed Brad to keep their affair secret. Testimony from Brad's cousin revealed Brad was frustrated with hiding their relationship and may have wanted to come clean, threatening David's carefully constructed life. Fearing exposure in a conservative town, David planned the murder. Surveillance footage confirmed David was at Brad's house alone hours before the body was found, giving him time to kill and stage the scene. Phone records showed frequent calls and texts between them the days prior, hinting at escalating tensions. David's shifting stories, from denying involvement to claiming self-defense, fell apart under scrutiny. Sherry's testimony was heartbreaking. She was blindsided by the affair and David's actions, her trust shattered. After a week-long trial in 2017, the jury deliberated for just 4 hours before convicting David of aggravated murder, convinced by the overwhelming evidence of premeditation. In February 2018, David Kenny faced the consequences of his actions in a Ballure, Ohio courtroom. After a week-long trial that gripped a small town, the jury deliberated for just 4 hours before convicting him of aggravated murder for the brutal killing of his best friend and secret lover, Brad McGarry. The judge delivered a scathing rebuke. This was a calculated, premeditated act. You deceived everyone around you, including your own family, and you took the life of a man who trusted you implicitly. David was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, with an additional 3 years for using a firearm. As of mid-2023, he remains incarcerated in an Ohio state prison, his appeals consistently denied. His once stable life as a coal miner, husband, and stepfather has been replaced by a stark existence behind bars, a permanent reminder of the choices he made on May 7, 2017. The trial itself was a spectacle in Bellur, a town unaccustomed to such high-profile crimes. The prosecution presented a compelling case. Surveillance footage and phone records placed David at Brad House hours before the body was discovered, contradicting his claim of merely finding the body with his family. Forensic evidence was damning. Brad was shot twice in the back of the head at close range, execution style, with no signs of struggle, debunking David's self-defense narrative. The staged crime scene, with overturned furniture but no stolen valuables, pointed to premeditation. David's multiple conflicting stories, ranging from a mysterious intruder to a struggle over a gun, further eroded his credibility. The defense argued that David acted out of fear, citing his clean record and family responsibilities. But the jury was unmoved by these pleas, swayed by the overwhelming evidence of a planned murder. The fallout was devastating for those closest to David and Brad. Sherry Kenny, David's wife, was blindsided by the revelation of his secret affair with Brad. The documentary captures her visceral shock during David's confession, a moment that shattered her trust and upended her world. Left to raise their young children alone, Sherry faced immense challenges. Financially, she struggled to support the family without David's income from his coal mining job. Emotionally, she grappled with explaining to her children why their father was gone and why he had killed Uncle Brad, a beloved figure who had been a constant presence at family gatherings. The children, too young to fully comprehend betrayal, were left confused and heartbroken, mourning both their father and their honorary uncle. The profound sense of loss that permeated their household as Sherry navigated the dual burdens of betrayal and single parenthood. Brad's family and friends were equally shattered. Known for his kindness and generosity, Brad was a vibrant presence in Bellur. A former hairstylist and openly gay, he had earned the affection of many, including David's family, who called him Uncle Brad. His funeral was a somber affair, with attendees sharing stories of his warmth, humor, and willingness to help others. His cousin's testimony during the trial, revealing Brad's frustration with the secrecy of their affair, painted a picture of a man yearning for authenticity. The senselessness of his death, shot in the back of the head by someone he trusted, left a void in the community. Friends organized memorials to honor Brad's legacy, but the pain of his loss lingered, a stark reminder of the fragility of trust. The case reverberated beyond the families, sparking intense discussions in Bellur about sexuality and stigma. In a conservative small town, David's secret affair with Brad challenged deeply held beliefs. The tragedy prompted soul-searching among some residents, who began advocating for greater acceptance of diverse sexual orientations. Community forums and local discussions, sparked by the case, questioned how societal pressures could drive someone to such an extreme act. David's fear of exposure, likely intensified by Bellur's traditional values, was seen as a key factor in his decision to kill Brad. However, not all reactions were progressive. Some residents used the case to reinforce negative stereotypes, deepening community divisions. The documentary underscores this tension, noting that while the case opened conversations, it also exposed the challenges of changing entrenched attitudes. The broader implications of the case are profound. David's actions illustrate the destructive power of living a double life, driven by fear of societal judgment. The tragedy serves as a cautionary tale about the human cost of secrecy, where the pressure to conform can lead to catastrophic decisions. For Sherry, the children, and Brad's loved ones, the pain of betrayal and loss remains a daily reality. The case also raises questions about justice and redemption. While David's life sentence reflects the severity of his crime, the defense's plea for leniency, citing his lack of prior criminal history, suggests a complex interplay of personal and societal factors. Despite the conviction, questions linger. What exactly happened in those final moments? Did Brad truly threaten to expose the affair, or was there another trigger? DNA evidence from a condom at the scene, Brad's DNA on the outside, an unknown male's inside, not David's. Who is this person, and could they be connected to crime? This ambiguity, as noted in the documentary, doesn't exonerate David but adds intrigue. How did the affair stay hidden so long? In a small town, what's become of Sherry and the kids? This case, a stark warning about secrets and shame, leaves us wondering about the full truth. What do you think drove David to this extreme? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep exploring these haunting stories.